Happy hellos everyone, and welcome to the Peddler's Gallery's first card presentation via video. So good to have you here. I wanted to share with you some cards that I've made over this past week featuring one of my favorite lines, which is Graphic45, and this particular print is called Fruits and Flora. I purchased this paper probably about a year ago or whenever it came out, and made a couple of keepsake boxes with it, but never truly made any cards with it. And for some reason, it struck me to do so this week. So I wanted to share them with you. So here I have one of my keepsake boxes. It's not quite finished. It does not have a handle on it, but perhaps I'll be able to share it in the upcoming weeks once it's completed. So let's get started. In all, I think I have about 12 cards to share with you, and we'll get started with the cards that are on the top and work our way to the bottom. So the first card I'd like to share, it's this cute little card that I made, and I actually had this butterfly in my stash, so I decided to add the butterfly onto the card. And as you can see, this particular line is full of various hues. Almost all of the colors that are in the Crayola box. There may be one or two missing, but quite a few of them there. And the sentiment on the front reads, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree." And I thought this card was perfect for someone that was perhaps following in his or her parents' footsteps or siblings' footsteps. So I just thought that would be perfect for an occasion of such. And when you open the card, it's pretty simple on the inside. There's a place where you can write your sentiment. And if anybody knows me, very few of my cards actually include an inside sentiment. The idea is for you to express your thoughts and your feelings to whomever you're giving the card to. But what you'll find in this particular card is that the sentiment paper has been slightly embossed with flowers. So I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how well that comes across on the camera, but yes, it's been slightly embossed, and you can see the yummy purple. Anybody who knows me knows that I love purple. So I think that was one of the things that drew me to this paper. I saw more purples in the paper than I saw anything else. And you can see that I've added a purple card base to quite a few of the cards that I'll show over the next few minutes. So there you have it. Then there's another card with the same measurements, which are 4.5 by 6 inches. And this card is full of color. And as you can see, one of the differences, I did not add a butterfly to it, but I did add a satin ribbon. And the satin ribbon comes across pretty accurate in what you see in the camera. This is a chartreuse colored ribbon. So it's got lots of green and a slight hint of yellow, which gives you a beautiful shade of chartreuse. And the sentiment on the front of the card can lend itself to various occasions, but it reads, "Life is sweet." And when you open the card on the inside, it too has an embossed impression on the sentiment paper. And as you can see, it's blank. So you can see quite a bit of the purples and the greens, the peach and the pinks come through very well. I hope I'm showing this correctly. There you go. But I think that That satin ribbon sets it off. The next card is a little unique in itself. You see the inside along with the outside at the same time. And as you can see, the inside has a orange color and or with a repeated design pattern onto it. And on the outside, you see lots of fruits and some floras. And the sentiment on the outside reads, "Life is sweet." I'm not sure if I want to add anything additional to the outside. I think that it's, fine just the way it is, but there's a little part of me said that I could have added something to it. So perhaps I'll do so before someone snatches it up. But what you see is when you open the card, pieces are somewhat missing on the outside. It's almost like a peekaboo or see-through type of card. And there's plenty of room on the inside for sentiment. However, you also get all this yumminess on the top inside of the card. More florals, more fruits. And it's nicely, although it's missing some pieces, it's nicely weighted. There's a repeat of that same card with a few different patterns. Again, you see a lot of fruits. You see the orange repeated pattern on the inside. But on the outside of the card, it reads, "Beauty blossoms with love." And we all know that to be true. Beauty blossoms with love. And as you can see, the card bases are purple. And when you open up the card on the inside, you get orange to break up some of that purple, and you see lots of greens. It's a really, really nice card. Really airy, really springy, with all the fruits and vegetables that'll be coming into season really soon. So I think that's pretty nice. This next card is very much like the last two cards, but instead of it opening in a landscape type of way, this one opens in a vertical way. So this card also looks like it's missing a piece or two. It has the repeated pattern on the orange paper. And this one also reads like the very first one. The apple doesn't fall from the tree. So again, I just think that with that sentiment, it would lend itself for anyone who's following in perhaps a family member's footsteps. Perhaps they went to the same college, or they're going to the same college as a grandparent or a parent, or they've decided to enter into the same profession as their parent, grandparent, or sibling. And you can see with this particular card, I even added more purple inside the card. I don't know if you can have too much purple, especially if you live in Baltimore. And from here, although it's the same style of card with the pieces looking like they're missing, I did switch up, if you can see, or if you haven't noticed, from a purple card base to a black card base to tone down some of the colors. And the sentiment on the outside of this card reads, "Life without love is like a tree without blossoms or fruit." I don't know if you can see all those colors or how they're actually coming out, how they're looking to you, but they're very vibrant over here. And when you open the card, of course, there's more purple on the inside. And there will be a space or place where you can write onto this dark colored paper, but I just wanted you to check out the patterns and the hues of the cards. So I think this one is my favorite for some reason. This one captures my attention the most. What's your favorite so far? Now, the next 4 cards that I'm going to show you resemble one another with a few variant differences, things that differ. So, this card, of course, is the same pattern in that same family using the same colors. But what I've done is I've added a filigree to each one of the 4 cards that you'll see. And this one, the first filigree, can be found in the lower right-hand corner of the card. And this what this metal filigree does, besides lending its ornate abilities to the card, but it also weights the card down in a good way. And you can touch the card without transposing your natural oils onto the papers. So this is beneficial in that way. The base or the front of the card is slightly raised from the black base of the card, the black card base. So there's weight there as well. And when you open this particular card, it lends a lot of color. And some of the sentiments repeat. This is one that says life is sweet. That's on the far left-hand side of the card. And of course, there's a scalloped area where you can write your sentiment on the inside of the card. So what I've done is I've die cut this, and it makes for a really ornate piece of paper. The next card, you'll find the filigree on the far left-hand side of the card, the bottom base of the card. And again, when you're holding the card with your hand on the filigree, the metal filigree, it helps not to transfer those natural oils that you may have on your hands onto the paper, which will sometimes weaken the paper. So I don't know if you can see that. And all at the same time adding beauty to the card. And on the front of this card, it reads, "Bloom with grace." I thought this card would be perfect for someone maybe who's having a bat mitzvah or a bar mitzvah, who's turning 16 or 18 or one of those significant years, 21, 25, and that they continue to grow into their adulthood gracefully. Or even someone who's aging, but it's aging gracefully. I thought this was perfect for something like that. And on the inside of the card, there is a little surprise. So instead of writing on the far right-hand side of the card, there's a writing area on the far left-hand side of the card, because there's a pocket on the inside that lends a space for tea or anything else that you could find befitting to put inside the card, be it a bookmarker or whatever you may want to put inside the card. So this perhaps is that perfect card for someone who has a love for tea like you, or for someone who's trying to get over, a cold or something, and it's your way of saying get well soon. As you can see there, you have that scalloped piece of paper for your sentiment and a bag of tea. Here, same concept, that filigree keeps moving, but it can be found now in the upper right-hand corner of your card. And this one has kind of like a peachy feel, because you see the oranges and the yellows and all that good stuff. There's no real sentiment on the front of this one, so this one reminds me more so of a note card. Of course, I could add something to it, but I just thought that the papers were beautiful all within themselves, so I decided to leave it without actually having a sentiment on the front. And when you open it on the inside, of course, there's those beautiful hues, once again, with grapes and plums and oranges and peaches and cherries and flowers. So you can see it's very pretty. And you have that area, that scalloped area where you can write your sentiment on. And then lastly, you have the card where the filigree is found in the upper left-hand corner of the card. And this particular card reads, "Life without love is like a tree without blossoms or fruit." Thought that was pretty nice. And when you open the card, although it doesn't lend for a lot of writing space, but it does cause you to smile when you see that it's a little something different inside the card than what you normally would see. So there's still ample space to write your sentiment, and no problems closing this card and putting it in an envelope. So I hope you like the cards that I was able to share with you today, and I hope that you will join us again the next time we showcase a new set of cards. If you see any cards that you may like, please inbox me and let me know, and we can set them aside and get them right out to you. All cards also, the majority of these cards, if you're planning on mailing them, they will cost about 72 cents to mail opposed to the 50 cents. And that's because the cards would be hand processed and not be put through the machine. The one thing you don't want them to do is to put these style cards through the machine and take the chance of them being bent before the person actually receives their card. Once again, thank you for joining me. Please let me know how you think I did on our first video, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Thanks and goodbye.